Well, it's a good thing that I'm not in the predictions game because I guess I was off by a few days. But Trump did hit Iran, like I said, was inevitable. He was going to do it. They had their chance to come and negotiate. They had their chance to try to come to some sort of agreement and then move on to following deals of the negotiations. But instead, they'd rather play my dick's bigger than yours. Well, see where that led to. Thousands of strikes on Iran. I guess thousands of strikes on Iran ultimately led to the Ayatollah Khomeini being killed and several other top people that were a part of the negotiations. Then Trump comes out and says that they want to they want to talk. Then Iran comes out and the people that are basically running the country until a new supreme leader is picked say they're not going to talk. Basically, they're going to keep fighting. And I kept asking the question what it was going to look like, what I thought it might look like. And turns out a lot of my suspicions is exactly what DHS and stuff was saying. That they are worried about U.S. strikes. And I think it's time for people to be very vigilant about what's going on in America and what's going on around them because whether people want to admit to it or not, there are terrorist organizations here in the homeland. And if DHS is worried about it, they're on a heightened alert because of what we did. It's a pretty good idea. And they have vowed to hit us and hit us hard, which Trump says he'll hit them back with a force they've never seen before. I kind of wonder what that force is. I mean, we have dropped the mother of all bombs. I mean, back in what, the 40s, we dropped the two A bombs. There's really only a escalatory thing right there whenever you say, well, I'll hit you with a force you've never seen before. When he says something like that, I start thinking, the big N word, the big boys. That worries me just a little bit, but it is considering all the people around and in that area. That stuff's floating around there. It's enriched. So I don't know, but so far what we've seen is we've launched thousands of strikes. We've killed the Ayatollah. We've probably crippled their government. Of course, they hit back, and you knew it was coming. Part of their hitting back was sabotage and attacking oil tankers, which is only going to drive up gas prices here. And we knew that was one of my biggest worries. I just didn't say it, but it is gonna. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. But you know, people in the junk business, scrap price is going to go up. Anytime we're in war, stuff like that, gold, silver, copper, aluminum, scrap metal, prices are going to go up. So people that's in the junk business, they're getting ready to see a good turnaround unless this thing ends quickly and then it might settle down. The markets are always going to take a wild turn anytime anything like that happens. I was talking it over with my wife and she said, "Do you agree with Trump attacking Iran?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." If you, I was on the fence. I said, "But if you look at the Ayatollah Khomeini and you think about it, he is an extremist, and basically he just wants to. If you don't agree with him, you shouldn't be here." Right? He was committing genocide against his own people, people that just they seen what he was and they just wanted him out of power. Trump told him to stop that stuff before we hit him the first time or the second time. But I said, you have to think that somebody that thinks that I should die or you should die or my children should die just because we have a different belief. If you think he should have an intercontinental ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead on it, and the first thing he would do is point it at us, he thinks we should die because we don't believe in what he believes in, then I said, just think of it this way, you know, that's like a sheep asking two wolves what's for dinner. You know, you're basically signing your own wanted poster at that point in time. I said I really wish they'd have came to a negotiation and not been so radical about it. And I wish it didn't have to go this far. You know, I don't want to see innocent people killed, which I know there have been, and it varies depending on what news source you go to. Because I sit and scroll through this stuff usually a couple days in advance or a day in advance. I just go through and I read 4 or 5 different articles. I try to go from the left over to the right, and I try to base my numbers in between, like because the left's going to stretch it because they want to make Donald Trump look bad, even though he's doing something good. They're going to try to make him look like a dictator. They're going to make it seem like, especially, we take Maduro and now we kill Khomeini. They're going to try to paint Trump in a bad light. And then you got people on our side, and I don't understand this. I don't. I just caught the headline and I moved on. Supposedly, Nick Fuentes is saying that vote Democrat. I mean, Jesus criminy, have you lost your mind? Because Trump broke a promise about no new wars. Well, sometimes you have to do things like this. I mean, that's like standing, for people like Nick Fuentes, letting Iran just continue to go on. That's no different than the high school bully that's going around picking on everybody. You know you can kick his ass. You know you can kick his ass. But letting him go around and shove people into a locker and stuff like that. Eventually someone's going to have to stand up and punch him. Someone's going to have to get it done. You know, it could even be a more extreme thing. Basically, if I had to break it down into a normal life event, that's like just going and getting what do they call a PSA or whatever. It's just a slip of paper. A person still, if they can still find something illegal to unalive you with and come and do it. You're just handing it to them. You're just making it easier. You want that whole, well, just let's throw Trump to the wolves because let's vote Democrat now. Are you stupid? Did you fall and bump your fucking head somewhere? Vote Democrat? There you go. Well, jump right out of the fire or out of the pot into the fire. That's you're voting your own demise. You're trying to vote away your gun rights. You're trying to vote away less taxes. You're literally cutting your nose off to spite your face when you say some stupid shit like that. Like, ooh, let's vote Democrat now. Trump went to war with Iran. Well, Iran needed to be put in its place. I mean, yeah, I don't think we should be the world's police, but when you have a country like Iran that chants death to America every chance they get, do you think the world would be safer with those fucking people having a ballistic missile with a nuclear weapon on the end of it? Do you really think that's what they need? I mean, we're already worried about their terrorist network here inside of the United States. Like they could pop off at any moment and start wiping out Starbucks all over the country. But you think they should have an ICBM with nuclear capabilities? You don't agree with this because what? Because Trump said, I don't want any new wars. He didn't, he said in his State of the Union, I'm into wars and I don't want war with Iran, but I do want. Sometimes, I tried to explain it to my wife like this. Sometimes foreign policy is domestic policy. And you have to think Trump's trying to do what he has to do to keep the homeland safe. Trump's trying to do what he has to do to keep our allies safe. When you take a country like Iran that has bombed Lebanon, they have bombed Beirut, killed countless of our soldiers, countless of our people over there in the Middle East, and for no reason other than they don't like us. They don't like us. They don't like our religion. It's like they're trying to keep the Crusades alive. It's absolutely ridiculous to sit back and say, "Oh, I'm gonna abandon Trump because he's starting a new war. This is geopolitical. This is that. This is this. This is that." You know, you're looking at it. Well, when you say vote Democrat, you got your blinders on, man. You know, I can't say that I'm super huge fan or ever been a super huge fan of someone like Nick Fuentes. I mean, I've seen him appear on InfoWars and him and Alex go back and forth, and I don't agree with some of his stuff, and some of his stuff I agree with. He's like everybody else. I'm just not. I just think it's a little bit over the top to say that, but I mean, he does try to be edgy, but telling your base to abandon. I said this the other day. It's like being in an airplane and hoping the pilot jumps out. You know what I mean? Or being on a ship. You know, hoping somebody's downstairs drilling holes in the bow. You know, sabotaging the pumps. If it sinks, you're going with it. You know, that's just ignorant. It's ignorant. Why would you vote for people that hate you? The Democrats hate anybody that's center field or to the right of them. Doesn't matter. You can't talk to them. They're just as radical as the Iranians. There's no talking to them. I mean, did the State of the Union not show you enough not to vote Democrat, Nick? I mean, I'm straight asking you, did it not show you enough? Their hatred for America, their hatred for you, their hatred for the U.S. citizen over an illegal immigrant. I mean, is that what you want? Is open policies again, open borders? You want fentanyl pouring in? You want crime to go through the roof? You want to worry every day how much further the government's going to encroach on your rights, or how much more freedom you're going to lose to big government? Come on, man. That's insane. Why would you even suggest that? But I'm going to get off the Nick Fuentes thing. I mean, after we hit Iran and Tehran, or hit Tehran, they hit back. You see three U.S. fighter jets went down, and I hate the way they headline things. Like they made it seem like Iran took them out. That's not how it went. They were taken out by friendly fire, but it doesn't say what kind of friendly fire took them out. It's just friendly fire. Sucks. That's three people out. It's bad. And then, Hezbollah has been fired. You knew Hezbollah was going to go right back to firing on Israel constantly. That you knew that was going to happen. Knew it. So, and they don't want no talks. They're attacking oil tankers. They're doing anything they can. They're in a if I don't figure this lasts longer than a month. If it does, it'll surprise me. There I am trying to get back in that prediction game. They're going to fire drone. They're going to have kamikaze drones hit this and hit that. I can't find anywhere where it says other than like we hit targets in Tehran and all around Iran between us and Israel. I think the UAE is now joining. I know that when they struck back, it said that they've hit basically six areas. They've hit Jordan, Israel, or I don't know if hit is the right word, but they fired Jordan, Israel, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. I don't know how much of that's been intercepted and taken out before it reached the ground. I don't know. It doesn't say, which most outlets that you find these headlines on aren't going to try to paint us in a pretty picture right now. And I think it's just disgraceful. I don't want to see a full scale war, but let's hope that cooler heads prevail in this, and Iran's next supreme leader or their security council or whatever that's running the country right now decides maybe we should talk. I know they keep saying they're vowing like severe retaliation, and they're saying they're going to hit us in ways we've never seen. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to start blowing up strip malls over here, and obviously that's a big threat. because DHS come out in an article and said that basically everybody needs to be vigilant. They're heightened in security. Iran has Iran has perfected the art of going into other countries with terrorist cells and attacking them internally. And I've actually, that was one of my biggest worries. I kept saying it over and over and over in my Iran videos about how I wondered what it would look like. Are they going to open up a dirty bomb on us here in the U.S. in several places? Is another night or another 9/11 going to happen? Is, you know, Boston Marathon? You got to start thinking about these things. People need to stay vigilant because that's possibly what could happen. And I don't figure they're going to do it right off the bat, but they're going to they're going to make their necessary plans to do it. If they're going to do it here, they're right now they're in the getting ready phase, in my opinion, and it's pretty strong and possible that it's going to happen. I think I've seen where the UAE is planning on jumping in here. The EU's talking about getting into it and helping us. So I mean, that's a big plus. So the more people that's surrounding them and saying basically we're going to kick the crap out of you, they're going to have very limited options of what to do. They're going to have basically going to have to back down. They're going to get some small counter strikes in, which I think they tried to hit a naval base in Bahrain. I don't think any of it was successful. I don't quote me on that because in one article you see they hit Bahrain, another article you see they didn't. Nothing was successful. Nothing got by. What's disgusting in a lot of these news articles that you read that are from left-wing outlets is like, oh, why is our air defense not as good as, or they show weakness in our air defense? Why would you even put that out there? We are superior in every way to Iran. I mean, we could, if Trump went full scale and just pounded the crap out of them, which he's trying to avoid. He's obviously strategically hit certain areas, and I said just roads, electrical grid, critical infrastructure. I mean, he went all out and said, "Okay, you want to keep chanting death to America? You don't want to make a deal. You want to keep telling people that we're making deals and we're not making deals. Bam, I'll just start hitting you." And he took out Khomeini, which, you know, like I said, Khomeini wasn't a good person. And if anyone is okay with Iran having an ICBM with a nuclear warhead on it, you're crazy as hell. They'll point it at anybody that don't agree with them and let loose. And that's a scary thing. So I don't like the fact that the oil prices are going to go up. That means the prices at the pump's going to go up. They're trying to jam the Strait of Hormuz. They're trying to choke us out any way they can to try. That stuff's not going to hurt. We've got technology to get around that. We're we're going to. I don't like, that's what I said. I don't like seeing this whole casualty thing. I don't like seeing the effects of war. I don't like seeing our soldiers getting hurt. But I also didn't want to see irrational, radicalized lunatic with a nuclear weapon. That's crazy. And to say that we should leave that part alone, no, we shouldn't. I think I think Trump's doing the right thing, and he's very skilled at this stuff. I mean, he shut ISIS down, what, in his first term in a couple of weeks. He's not stupid when it comes to this stuff. He's very, very surgical about it. Look how surgical we are when it comes to things like we took Maduro in minutes. That says it all. We're pretty surgical. Our guys are pretty good at what they do. They're very elite. I think we can end this quick. I don't know. Don't quote me. Don't say this is. I mean, I'm not going to say this is a prediction, but I say it doesn't even last a month. I say this all ends quick. I say we're rallying the troops and people are getting behind us, and ultimately, Iran's got basically one option: put somebody that's not an extremist in power, come to the table, make a deal, or we're gonna keep hammering you. Stop killing innocent people because they don't agree with you or they don't agree with your religion. Stop. Stop the genocides. Stop your nuclear ambitions. Just stop. And that's what it's ultimately going to come to. Heck, it might even come to that by the end of the week because when you go up against the might of the U.S. government, you find out real quick it doesn't work out very well for you. We've got an arsenal, plenty of patriots to rally this and say, okay, just bomb the shit out of them until it's done. I mean, thousands of strikes on Tehran and killing Khomeini. Yeah, they're mad about it right now, but they're going to simmer down and come to their senses that, you know, look, they tried to hit the USS Abraham, tried, unsuccessful. But we turned around and sunk one of their ships. I think they said it's sinking to the bottom of the Gulf of the Gulf of Iran or whatever over there. Yeah, basically they missed, but now they're sinking. That's kind of metaphoric of where Iran's at right now. Y'all missed, but you're kind of sinking now. You might want to grab the life raft. If I had to do a prediction and give my opinion on where this is going, Iran's going to basically surrender soon, I would say. I don't know if it'll be a week, a month. I'm hoping maybe by the end of the week. It's hard to tell because, I mean, if Europe gets involved, the EU, I mean, I think UAE is going to get involved. You've got a bunch of little countries. Israel's already involved. That's just more stuff pointing at Iran, and they honestly, they don't, even with their terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, ISIS, all those radicals that agreed with the radical that used to be in charge in Iran, they don't have enough at all, don't have enough to fight back. They'll escalate a little bit, and then when we retaliate with something more, they're just going to see that what they do is a pinprick versus getting hit with a sledgehammer. I think they'll come to the table soon. The shock factor will sink in. They'll come to the table, make some sort of agreement, and let's just hope that they have the leadership to follow the agreement when it's all said and done. I think that's about all I got today. If you want my, that's my opinion. Right there it is. Don't forget, if you like my content, like, follow, and subscribe. If you want to support my channel directly, I'll leave a link in the description. Or slide over to Dubby. Try one of their 15 flavors of energy drink mixes with over 20,000 5-star reviews. Put in coupon code Matt's Opinion. Save yourself 10%. And they'll support me for you supporting them. For Matt's Opinion, I'm out.